I'm at the start of this transcendental, and you're kind of like carrying it forward type thing.
Yeah, I think
I've heard little things like that.
Yeah, well, do you know what I've been like? Because I've only really started being successful since I got in my 40s. And then I've read a lot about a lot of people who super successful and happened when they got into the 40s. Like, what was his name? The guy who did Ford. It wasn't until he was in his 40s.
And I don't want to say the brand, but KFC, the owner of that, he was another one.
He was old. The McDonald's guy, he was in his 40s.
Yeah.
And there's quite a lot of, I can't remember them all, but not just all like big brands, big corporate. There's a lot of other people. It was like that's when they became successful. So yeah, I'm just fucking enjoying being 40.
When did you go on Dragon's Den? How old was you then?
This year. That was this year. So
42?
I was 40,
41?
I was 41 when we got on Dragon's Den.
Okay.
I think I'm 42 anyway. Yeah, I am.
You
42.
are 42.
43.
Yeah.
I'm 43 next month.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I remember watching that on there, and I thought I was in a parallel universe because I was pretty much in the whatever you want to call it, the scene at that point.
Yeah.
And I keep seeing like these abstract things in the Matrix coming out. I'm just like, fuck. I'm just like, they're not going to buy this. They're buying it. I'm like, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I remember Kelly, my fiance, seemed to be why we were both watching it, and we were just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm just not surprised anymore. You know, like when many of these types of things are happening.
Yeah, it's happening.
And on the way on the train here, I had some like really loud like people drinking like, I think it was some kind of work to do, and they were saying, oh, Cassie said to us that we need to be up in the morning for our breathwork and yoga session. I'm just like, fuck. It's like, what the fuck? It's just everywhere. I'm just like, I'm leaving the carriage now. It's like, it's finding, it seems to be
infiltrating the mainstream, mate.
It is
infiltrating the mainstream. That was my whole thing when I knew I was going on it, and I was telling like my builders about it, and I couldn't really tell anybody, but you know, I could tell a couple of people, and there was this, like, I'm fucking infiltrating the mainstream, mate. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
I said infiltrating the mainstream, and they're gonna have it, and that's the way it is, because this is gonna be the mainstream in 10 years' time.
Yeah, and it's
100%.
how we manage this, I would say, then from an ego perspective. That'll be the next challenge once this is infiltrated in, and it's like what rather than saying, oh, yoga, breathwork, cacao, ecstatic dance, and people going, it's kind of like, oh, okay,
it's just life.
It's just life.
Yeah.
But then the next challenge will be making sure people are coming from the right place. I think that's what I'm trying to do, and who I'm trying to surround myself with as well.
Yeah, totally. But then we also got to understand, even like
people are on their journey.
But even where we're coming from now, in 10 years, we'll look back and go, oh, I was coming from
Cringe.
that. So it's and you've got to realize everyone's at different stages, and ultimately everybody should be trying to do their best. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes we can get like distracted by things. We can get taken on wrong paths, and then sometimes you can get a diversion that might be a month diversion. It might be a year diversion. I'm quite good at snapping my diversions quite quickly now and going, actually, no, bang, with like, that's not where we want to go. Do you know what I mean?
I think from a personal perspective, absolutely, I agree. However, I do think when it comes to facilitators, I think there's a due care of responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something that, it's opened my eyes up a little bit. And you think, oh, everyone's on this same wavelength, and just be careful who you get into bed with in life.
Totally, man.
Because especially in some of these circles or ceremonies or whatever, modal you want to go into, you're super vulnerable. You're literally opening up your heart, and a lot of stuff could come out. And if the facilitation isn't coming from a place of love, it's coming from somewhere. Maybe it's coming from a place of love, but there's also that.
But some people are facilitating from a place of love, but without they've not got the experience, or they've not got the. For example. People facilitating psilocybin ceremonies, but they've not got a deep connection. They've not got a deep knowing of holding space. Like I can say this, I'm a great space holder, but if you said, will you hold space for psilocybin, or will you hold space for ayahuasca, or I'd be like, no. Would I like to do it in the future? Possibly. But I would have to go and train. I'd have to focus on it. I'd have to make it my passion. I'd have to know the ins and outs of it for me to then feel comfortable having people come and pay me to take them on a journey and to help them heal. I couldn't just go, yeah, let's do some mushrooms. There you go. Bang, 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 bang. Right. Have a good time, everyone. Bit of music. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't do that. And people want me to hold space for that. And I'm like, no. But other people are like, yeah, I'll do it. And
they don't understand the responsibility.
Yeah, for me, it's another level. You're going into other dimensions that not many people understand, and you have to be trained in that, and you have to work with it, and you have to have sat with it for a long time. You have to have worked with elders, more experienced people.
You have to do the dieta, you have to sit with it. You have to understand the prayers and everything like that. Also, like, even if I could do all that, I don't think I'd want to hold space for a larger. It's a lot of responsibility, and I know some people close to me that there's a two-pronged response to this. They're worse off. And the reason why they're worse off is it's because it's brought all the impurities to the surface, and they're not ready to deal with it. And they've refused to deal with it. So now, like, they've changed as a person because they've got all these new things that they buried in Pandora's box, and it's unleashed. And I've had to do that because it's almost impossible to be around, unfortunately, which is quite sad. But at the same time, maybe that's part of the journey. We need to, like, go our separate ways and hopefully circle back at
that's
some
what
point.
Happens with a lot of people. Man. It's like, I'm not ready for that now, but then when they will be ready for it at some point.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like it will come back and we'll clear it. Like like we were talking with the other guest before about the you kind of like sliding doors moments. It's like I can either take this path and it's where I'm supposed to be going, or I'm nervous about it and actually I'm not gonna. And I've been told not to do this, but I'm scared of the good. I'm not worthy, or I'm not enough of the good thing that's waiting for me if I take this turn. But I'm going to go down here, and actually I'm going to get battered by the universe because the universe has told me this is not for me, and it's going to take me on a 4-year detour. And it's like, do you want to go on a 4-year detour, or do you want to go there? And a lot of people want to take the 4-year detour
because they think it's maybe the safer option.
But
it's not,
and it's actually delaying your path.
Comfort zone takes longer. Yeah, and also like the way that time dilation works in that, I think is quite interesting. I'm still like quizzing this in myself, but I believe like time is slower when you need to learn something and you're really struggling to learn something, and time is quicker when, say, you're having a good time in that moment, or it goes quicker if you're in a habitual routine because there's stuff to process. And it also goes slower when you've got things to learn as well. There's some ideas, because I've noticed time has been behaving very differently for me. I don't know if it's been for you, but certainly in the past 2-3 years, I look back on the last 12 months and I'm just like, and I think back to 12 months ago and I'm like, I was there.
Yeah.
That feels like maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's like with Dragon's Den. Like the amount that's happened this year. Someone said to us we did a retreat in November, and we were like, my missus was like, oh, it was a few years ago we did Dragon's Den. Someone was like, no, it was at the start of this year, and this was in November. So we like start of November, maybe it was even end of October. She's like, well, it's not even been a year. It's like, what the fuck, man? So much has happened, and it feels like
it's not been a year yet.
No, it's a year at the end of this. It was the 18th of Jan. It was a year ago.
Wow.
But it feels like so much has happened this year that it could be like 4 years ago that we.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I just watched Interstellar during Christmas, and
that's my favourite film.
That's one of my favourite films ever. I cry all the way through it, man. Like, it connects me with my mum so deeply. Like, and I've never cried as much at a film. Like, and actually every time I watch it, I cry more.
Yeah. You know, the wardrobe thing.
Yeah, it's like a DMT kind of like, oh, it's your brain's going, oh, this is true, but it's hurting my head. Like, to fathom it from a 5-dimensional like perspective or an 8th-dimensional perspective, that's us in the future. And you're like, oh. someone give me a head massage.
I've watched that film, I kid you not, and I'm not exaggerating, at least 25 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
I think I've done about 6, and that's a big for me with a film.
I think it's the reason being is because it's something about the ambience of the film. Like, I like films where you can bask in the ambience of, where all of it is just good in terms of the storytelling and everything like that. But yeah, it's definitely up there in
A
terms
lot
of
of
my
Christopher
favourite
Nolan's
films.
are really good though, but that for me,
one.
in terms of like evoking emotion in me, like I
Ugly cried.
no, good. It's beautiful cry. It's like really, really nice. It's this connection to my mum. It's a connection to like my soul family or my monad or something. And it's something deeper, man. It's like something like there's something big that's going to happen that we're going to be part of, and within our lifetime. Like I don't know what it is, but it's something. And that film just kind of like it just brings it, like we've all got this big mission. We're all that hero character in a way, but that connection of like your family, like that one person, that thread that can go through dimensions, that can go through timelines, that can, that love is it's magnets, man. It's like, it doesn't matter if they're 1,000 million
in a
light
different
years
time
away,
or whatever, love travels through it.
It's just bang. It's like, and that's what the thing with the other astronaut, and that she's saying that thing about love, but then it's him with his daughter, and then his daughter being older than him, and you're just like, yeah. I can feel the energy coming in a little bit now, man. But yeah, epic movie. I was going to do a video about it the other day actually, because I cried so much. Just I need to like share that how like connected that movie is like to me, and how like I'm very blessed that, because I like crying. You know what I mean? I feel
it needs
just
to happen,
makes you feel like human. It's like you feel connected to something, and it's like, because I don't cry a lot. I'm not like a crier. Do you know what I mean? But that film or things like that, and I'm like, get emotional, or this just certain things that I'm like, I enjoy it, and I feel it's beautiful, and it's almost like I'm an exhalation of like divine consciousness that I'm being aware of and being able to drop into.
Oh yeah, it touches something deep inside, and that's the same with music and stuff like that. For me, whether I'm playing on guitar or DJing, making music and stuff like that, I think I feel it very, very deeply. And I think it's important to convey a message in your music. I think there's a lot of music maybe that's out there today that is good. I'm not knocking it, but it's not really saying anything. And I think that's something that I've been really kind of working on in the last year, and going forward into this year, I've got a few releases that are set up. But to be honest, the guitar is I'm getting there with the guitar now, and I'm going to be looking at doing singing circles and things like that. Something for this year. But it's therapy, like someone's is a glass of wine therapy or something like that, or cacao or whatever. Like, although cacao's great. Sitting there with the guitar and just allowing myself to feel stuff. And sometimes if I'm playing the guitar or singing as well, like, I have to stop because it's just too much.
Right. Okay.
Like, and it allows some emotion to come out. And I think, for me, that's what I'm going into this year for. Is just really focusing on the music and invoking emotion, really. So
amazing. Well, we'll go into that actually. Let's start the fucking show,
I was going to say, I thought we were starting.
Luke Broadhurst, welcome to the Full Power Podcast.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Matthias. Tell us about you. What do you do? Who are you?
So, it's Luke, or some people know me as Ujjay, which is like my brand artist name. What do I do? So, I do conscious exstatic DJing. I'm a music producer. I produce my own music. I also am a space holder myself and put on events, which are under Awaken. And we launched actually on the full moon, 16th of November. Nice. And it was a huge success, which is great. And then kind of outside that, I'm also in the corporate world as well, sales and marketing. Cool. And I've been doing that for the last 13 years.
Full-time job?
Yes, full time. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had my own business in the past, and now I'm working for different clients and companies and things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of I wouldn't say it's a conflict of interest, but there's a lot of different fingers I've got pies in.
So how do you find them two worlds mixing? What's the pros, what's the cons, and where do they come together? Hi guys, my book Dealer to Healer is available on our website www.fullpowercacao.com. You can also get it on Amazon, Audible, Kindle, wherever you read and do your thing. It is an amazing tale of my life and my journey towards a better version of myself. All the twists and turns, all the traumas, all the funny stories, everything that's happened. It's my life story. It's supporting and inspiring lots and lots of people. So head over to the website, head over to Amazon, get the book, let us know what you think. Big love.
I think it's actually been pretty decent so far because I've been mostly on my own time working for myself, having my own clients and having my own schedule. Whether that will change this year, who knows? And if that does change, then that's something I'll come to. Like I'm also getting married this year as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So we're getting married in June. So obviously the focus is that's a big energy point in the year for us. So yeah, it's exciting stuff, but at the same time, managing it pretty well so far.
So what does getting married mean to you? Is that something you've always wanted to do, or was it just meeting this one person and that energy came in?
Yeah, I never really wanted to get married per se, and I was in a relationship before, and just didn't quite feel right. And then something clicked in this one. It felt different. Different how I just think just felt like the pieces of the puzzle were connecting more, rather than being disjointed.
Yeah.
And I actually proposed in India.
Right, okay. Nice.
And I proposed
Whereabouts?
in Triand, which is right in the north, near Daramakot,
Yep.
Bagsinag, Dharamshala way.
Yeah.
And she nearly didn't get up the mountain.
All right. I thought you was going to say she nearly didn't say yes. She was thinking about it and she was like,
No, wow, no, I just remembered.
Did you say to her, I'm not proposing if you don't get on a mountain?
Yeah, no, she had no idea,
Right,
absolutely
okay.
no idea. And then it was perfect. The sun was setting, and I said, "Oh, let's go and get some photos." But as soon as I brought out the tripod, she just literally bent over and just crying.
Right, okay.
And I was just like, I had something I wanted to say, and now it just turned into a crying, emotional mess.
But nice.
Yeah, but nice. Yeah.
And she said yeah.
Yes, she did.
And you got a photo.
Yes, got video.
Got a video.
Yeah, I took a video. Obviously,
nice.
I wanted to capture it. And that was when we were traveling for. We were traveling for about a year.
Yeah.
And a lot of interesting things happened on the course of that, and it was towards the end of that trip.
Okay.
I actually didn't realise I was going to propose. I actually was best man for my friend's wedding. I came back from, I think it was Thailand.
Yeah.
And I was in the UK for a week, did that. And I was speaking to my mum, and I was like, I'm thinking I'm going to propose when I go back out. And then I took my grandma's ring that I was going to propose with. I was just waiting for the right moment. I was just like, I'm going to leave it right to the last weekend, like before we're due to leave. And lo and behold, it was perfect.
Did she have any inkling that you was gonna? And you spoke about it? Not
really. Maybe at the start of the trip, she mentioned something, but then she probably put it to bed again.
Yeah.
But I think as it got closer to the end of the trip, I think she probably just thought, maybe not. It's not going to happen. So,
right, okay.
So yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. And so you travelled for a year together?
Yeah, and I also travelled for a year before that, about 5 years ago as well.
Right, okay.
Like I thankfully now I've got it out of my system. I say thankfully because it was an obsession at one point. It's like I don't care about anything else. I just want to go travelling, leave the world behind, and an escapism, but also adventure and finding myself and stuff.
So was India the main place? Or
3 months in India.
Yeah.
We just on a whim did our yoga teacher training in Rishikesh.
Okay.
We literally decided like a couple of months beforehand, and then we just booked it.
What style?
It was mixed, so it was Ashtang, Vinyasa, and Hatha.
Cool.
Yeah, but we also went to like Mexico, went to Japan.
Oh, nice.
So it was kind of like a full world. Went to
so you did-
Croatia, so we did a bit
So
everywhere.
it's very varied culturally.
But towards the end, it got a lot more, shall I say, conscious and spiritual. Not that was where we were planning it to go, but it ended up going that way.
Okay.
And that's when I ended up meeting one of my idols out there. Not someone that's quite well known, but to me, he was. There's a YouTube channel called Primitive Tribal Craft. I don't know if you know of it.
Nope.
And they do like singing circles out in like Mazunte in Mexico, in Copenhagen in
I've been
Thailand.
to Mazunte.
Yeah, potentially.
I think I have.
It's quite a hot spot for.
Is Mazunte on the beach?
Yes.
Yeah. I've been to a rainbow gathering there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I was
So
naked for 5 days on a beach. I burnt my ass, man. My mate was like, "Do you know you're gonna burn your ass?" I was like, "Oh, it'd be all right tomorrow." Fuck me.
No,
Couldn't sit down for like
the
2 days.
sun is
man.
super hot there. Yeah. Yeah. And surfing opportunities are good down there as well.
Oh, I heard the whales there, man. Like my mate come back to the camp and he was like, "You need to go in the water." I'm just chilling in the hammock. I was like, "No, man, I'm good." He's like, "You need to come in the water." I was like, "For what?" He went, "Trust me, come in the water, please, trust me." I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, right, okay." Wait in the water. I was like, "What?" He went, "Just go in, lean back, put your ears under the water, lean back, put my ears." I was like, "Oh my god!" Like the whales and the cubs, the whale cubs. You could hear them like communicating. I was like, "Where are they?" He was like, "I don't know, man, but like." I was like, back in. It's like one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. Like, just like,
Oh,
felt
wow.
like he was with the, you know what I mean? You could hear him, the little cub, the big whale, and I was like, "Thank you, bro." I was like, really, really grateful. Like, thank you. That was amazing.
Yeah,
so
I
they
can
want to get out of my
imagine.
hammock.
No. It's like, no, you need to. You need to get out your hammock for this one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, that was right. That was near Mazunte, because Mazunte is not far from Oaxaca, is it?
Yes, you got Oaxaca, and then I stayed in Puerto Escondido,
Yeah.
which is also a pretty cool place as well. Could definitely live there for sure. Yeah.
You go Guatemala?
No, it's on the list. It's on the list. We're for our honeymoon this year. We're going back to Bali. That's one of my top favorite places. Specifically Ubud. I could definitely live in Ubud. And obviously you've got the Gili Islands and stuff like that.
Gili, what's the other
Tea
one?
and Menno and stuff like that. So yeah, we've got that. But yeah, going back to the India thing, I think a lot of people do this, don't they? It's kind of cliche. I think the Beatles did, John Lennon, a couple of different people. They just go over to India, get inspired, and come back, and then their whole life is.
Yeah, but why is it not happening to any bands now? Like, when's the last band that did it? I'm like, why don't Arctic Monkeys or like someone do that? Or why don't Oasis get interested and have a spiritual awakening? Like, because they're really bad.
I think it's because
they've got no the creativity. Like, for me, the Beatles, it helps them expand the creativity, bring in different instruments, like different ways of creating music, writing music, and a lot of bands get stuck in one way of doing it, and then they don't expand from that. But I'm not like the Arctic Monkeys. For me, like their last album, it was like quite jarring because it didn't feel like their style, but it was cool because you're like, well, that's interesting because it's totally different. Do you know what I mean? But then you're like, when's a big band gonna have a spiritual awakening and bring it into the consciousness of a lot of people?
I think it's due. I think maybe because of the generational thing around that time, late 60s, 70s, you had like the Love. Well, the Love was a lot more present. Your Fleetwood Macs were coming out, and psychedelics were in bigger use back then. And I think that kind of opens people up more and wanting to seek answers from somewhere else. And I think that's probably why. Whereas I think a lot of music is quite trend. It's on trend for a period of time, and then the trend changes rather than being like someone that's a more established artist that kind of goes across generation. And you know what we're talking about, Interstellar, it's like love crosses generations, right? And it's like getting back to the love of the music and love in the music.
That's why I'm enjoying like quite a lot of like there's like sacred drill and like conscious is a lot of conscious music, but in genres that you would be like, oh, I wasn't expecting it to, like sacred drill.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
love sacred drill. I'm all over sacred drill, but then there's other stuff that's coming out. That's like got a really good message, but it's not like, you know, your world music, kind of like your Trevor Halls or your Xavier Rudds, your Narco Bear or whatever. It's kind of like you expect it in that sort of genre of music, but in others you're like, oh, that's cool, because it's usually about bitches and hoes, and now it's about Christ conscious energy, manifestation, like doing my cards, you know, reading my tarots, whatever. And you're like, fuck, that's good, man.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. Yeah, I'm not so a fay with sacred drill.
You need to get into it. Man.
But I watch Rap Game UK. I'm a bit of a sucker for that. But and some of them do have conscious bars.
Yeah.
And I quite like that.
Ren's
bars,
got quite conscious bars. Do you know Ren?
No.
Hi, Ren.
No.
Oh, you need to check him out. It's good.
No, I need to do
Brighton.
more studying on my urban stuff.
Yeah. He had a big like album. His album went to #1 actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So if Ren ever listens to this episode, come on the podcast, Ren, and play at an event of mine, because I think he's awesome. And he suffers from like this autoimmune disease, and he's been like super ill for years and years. But he's still like the way he spits bars and stuff. But he's an amazing musician. Like play everything. Can do all different genres of music, and it's amazing to see like he's this white British guy that plays the guitar, sings police, and sings like you know, beautiful songs, got a beautiful range, musician, but then he's dropping these rap tunes, and these American like you know, like your reaction videos, all these rap channels are reacting to his video, and they're like obsessed, and then they go into his back catalogue and they're but he does this, like how does he do that and do that, and how does he hit that note, you know what I mean? And they're all going, this doesn't make any sense, but he's doing it all. Like, check, just get YouTube.
Yeah, I'll check it.
And go put Hi Ren on. That's got to be your first thing, but you've got to watch the video.
I'll do it.
Got to watch the video, because it's like, boom, one of them moments where there's been a few artists where I go, fuck, man, like, and then I go into a hole with them and check out everything they've done. I'm like, whoa, like, there's very few artists that I do that with, but occasionally it happens. There's another rapper called Easy Mill who's just signed to Eminem's label, and he's just got a dope way of like delivery and stuff, and he's super clever, super intelligent, and he started out on his own and doing his own videos, and I like that with a lot of these new younger artists that are coming through that are trying to do everything. They produce, they sing,
content creation,
and they create the videos. I think that's super.
I think we're all content creators in our own right, aren't we, in that sense? And then with music wise, I think weirdly, like, I mean, I play like my music is tribal fusion, ecstatic dance, and also tribal drum and bass, or like got a deeper drum and bass, because I like taking it to that energy, you know, like where it just like get it out of your system. And
to because what we find because a lot of our events, it's drum, like my passion is drum and bass, like love drum and bass DJs, but more than anything, I love when like a person who's never been in the drum and bass scene, like an older person, is like skanking to a drum and bass tune, and you go, have you ever heard this? No, I've never. What was that? And you're like, it's drum and bass, man. And they get into it then.
Yeah,
or even
definitely.
like techno, like some, like you're like, they've never been in the scene, they've never been to a techno club, or they've never been to, you know, watch a techno DJ, and then they're like having it to a tune.
Beautiful. Yeah, definitely. And I guess I'm starting to get getting into making more drum and bass. I've just finished one which hopefully I'll be looking to get signed. But I guess like my general vibe is like, imagine taking all your clothes off, taking some psychedelics, and then going into the jungle, and then you hear this beat, and it feels like nature, and you feel like you can vibe and chill to it. But you feel like you can really dance to it as well, like something that's flowy and moves, rather than the, you know, rigid type house music. You know, 90s a cappella and
So it's like you're kind of in this soup of like the jungle and creation, and
that's it. That's how it's like, how do you describe it's tribal fusion, and it's got ecstatic dance elements, but right from, I was saying BPM, 80 BPM, right up to 170, 180.
So do you ever like make a track and go, oh, like I need a little bit more of a, like I need a snake in there, or I need a thicker bush, or like I need I need to fill you, like you're trying to fill people, push these plants on, these tropical plants onto people. Or this needs a hummingbird needs to come in here. Definitely. So, there's a hummingbird in my ear, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's a good idea actually. I quite like that. But like waterfalls don't work too well. It's just like white noise, isn't it? But yeah, actually feeling like you're actually in nature when you're listening to the music. And all the tracks are also like, I don't know how much you know about like 432, 440 as a tuning scale.
Sacred.
Set 432. But I think a lot of people are confused by that because 440 is fine. But from a tuning perspective, I think that's where people get confused because like if you tune everything to 440, everything's going to be slightly out to the true alignment of the resonant frequency of Earth. Whereas with 432 and 440, they are frequencies on the piano, but are they the true ones, if you know what I mean?
So which one's a sacred ratio then?
So 432 is the so you know if you're tuning the guitar to 432 whatever, but you're still playing the same notes as you would in 440, but the frequency is different. That's the best way to explain it. But people think
almost like a radio, like what you're tuning into.
But 440 is fine. It's just the tuning element of it. You know, if everything's tuned to 440, like that's one thing. But there's also, if it's tuned to 432, there's also a 440 in the 432 spectrum of tuning. I think people get a little bit confused about that because it's 8 hertz in it, but then it changes. It goes down like per key and per note. So
because I remember there was a big thing with there was a girl. I don't know if you remember her, like she was like a R&B artist called Amarie. And she got this song called "There's Just One Thing That Got Me Tripping." Just one thing that got me admitting. And like it was all these DJs that were not into that genre of music, but started DJing like or mixing it into a dub set or a drum and bass set, and they were like, "I don't like that style of music, but it's something." But she recorded it in. She was into like Egyptian frequencies, so she like recorded it in these Egyptian frequencies. That's why it became apparently, because loads of people I knew were just like, I don't know why I like that tune, but I love it.
It's the feeling, because a lot of people also, and I agree with
the vibration in it.
It's but like people are mocking it on YouTube and online. Like, here's 432. Here's 440. It's like you can't really hear a difference. Maybe you could if you just took a oscillating wave. Maybe you could hear it on that, but in a track you're not going to hear a difference. I mean, not even
your body will hear it. Your body will feel it. Sorry,
exactly.
Feel it, not hear
You'll
it,
feel the resonant frequency in your water in your body. It'll feel different. It'll feel safer. Or it'll feel more. Just feel more in harmony.
Yeah. So 2 questions.
Yes.
I'm going to go for one first. This is and this was just coming up when you was talking about your marriage, because one thing for me, like, you know, people are getting married and divorced all the time, man. And it's like, the person that you want to marry, go traveling with them for a year, man. Because I assure you, there'll be 90% of you will not get married. If you are interested in holding your own cacao ceremonies for your community, then come and train with us at Full Power Cacao Facilitator Training. We've got 2 dates coming up in 2025. Just head over to the website, check out the details, and book on if it is calling you. Now, back to the podcast. Yeah? You've gone traveling.
Yeah, but what's funny about, I shouldn't really say this, really, and apologies if you're listening, I won't mention her name, but we're all good. But when I went traveling the first time, I was with my previous partner, and we didn't stay together after it. We realised we were very different. But this time, it seems to have worked out.
I've had many girlfriends that I've split up with on holiday. Because it's like,
you're in challenging times, aren't you?
I'm with you all the time. I'm not feeling it. But yeah, that I think it would, it'd probably destroy the whole kind of wedding industry because there wouldn't be as many weddings, but the ones that were happening would be like...
It's like an initiation, isn't it? Let's do this, see if it's going to work.
In some, what is it? There's one society where one indigenous tribe or culture where it's like, if they want to get married, they have to go into the jungle for a certain amount of time and they have to come back together. There's more depth to it than that, but ultimately they've got to go into the jungle with nothing, survive with each other.
The trials and tribulations of the jungle.
Survive with each other a certain period of time and then come out. And if they come out together and they still want to get married, they can get married. And if they don't, the tribe's like, no, you don't get married.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, man.
It does.
Yeah, we just destroyed the whole wedding industry But maybe there's an offshoot from that we can tap into.
Yeah, the
Pre not getting married trauma, like all these girls, like, my dream's over. I need to wear the dress. I need to get into loads of debt, man. My mum and dad are going to pay for everything for this one day that we can't afford. And we're going to have to pay it off for the rest of our lives. And we could have gone travelling for 5 years with that money and realised after 3 months that we fucking hated each other.
Something like that.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
We in for the business. Don't know what it's going to be, but there's got to be something. So you agree? It was that for you a really good kind of like barometer for like this is the person.
Yeah, no, it wasn't something that I was consciously thinking of when doing the trip, but I knew in my body like we needed to do this as a trip, and I knew subconsciously it would make us stronger, and we would know where we are with each other. And we went through, when I say hard times, I don't mean like hard times, but we went through some really difficult challenges, passports getting lost, screwing up on flights, going to the wrong airport, all these little things that can blow up your relationship, and we still, we're still managing pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah, we have a pet name for each other. Pet names are good, I think. That keeps the, we call each other Baby Oso, which is like baby bear in Spanish, or Osito. So yeah, little things like this, like keep the magic alive, rather than just like Kelly.
Yeah, is that a name, Kelly?
Yeah.
Kelly, where's my tea?
Oh dear. She's gonna shoot me later.
Big love to Kelly, and and so the other thing was just like with the music and that, like how did that start for you? When did you first get into the music? Was it something you was into as a kid, or is it something that's kind of blossomed later on?
It's quite a long story, but I will keep it to the key moment. So probably when I was about 10 years old, a couple of things were going on. My parents were into the rave scene, underground rave scene massively. They were coming back with mix CDs, that they would give out outside. And I was 10 years old listening to them and starting to get,
what was the
this?
sort of genre of music?
It was between hardcore and hard house music.
Okay.
Yeah, so... like 140 up to 170
That's
BPM.
too much for me, man.
Yeah.
110's about 110, 112, and I'm like, after that, I'm like, no, man, the head wants to explode. It's too much.
And I really wanted to play saxophone. Actually, that was something my mother actually.
Sexiest instrument.
It is. But my mum kind of opened up my eyes a little bit at that time. I'm bearing in mind I was 10 years old. She was like, "What about if you have a synthesizer keyboard? It plays more sounds." I was just like, There's something about that twigged. Because actually, it's not that deep. I wanted to. I wanted to play the saxophone because of Lisa Simpson.
Right, okay.
On The Simpsons. I remember it, and I'm just
you thought you could be with her if you played the saxophone.
Yeah, animated and all. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't too deep. I just knew I wanted to be playing something. And and then I'd go to car boot sales, and I was fascinated with remixes or edits on the back of CDs. Bearing in mind, I'm quite young as well at this age, and I would just, play them. And I'd be curious about how they did it. And then what really kind of then cemented it was in secondary school, I was having DJ lessons by the head teacher's son, headmaster's son. That could be a new DJ name, couldn't it? Yeah. And it was like £2 an hour.
Right, okay.
And I'll never forget, I had this chat on...
He wasn't an adult though, was he?
Yeah.
And he was paying you £2. You only charging you £2 an hour.
Yeah, but it was like in secondary school, wasn't it? Right, so and it was the headmaster's son, and I think it was just something, to do on that. But I'll never forget, we were mixing vinyl on 1210s, Mark IIs, and I really wanted a vinyl, to take back. I'm like 12, 13, and I'm just like, give me one, like out of your collection, please. And and he did.
Oh, he did.
And it was the one. I think it's time for action. Boom, boom, boom. Selection. Can you feel the satisfaction? If you know it, an old garage tune. No, you don't know it. No,
I thought maybe. You might do. Maybe,
yeah, an old garage tune, but yeah.
I love how the garage has come back in a lot recently as well.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I'm a sucker for a bit of garage or speed garage or stuff like that.
A bit filthy, yeah, man.
Definitely.
Yeah. So he give you this track.
Yeah, he gave me the vinyl, and then obviously I had no decks of my own at that point. I had a keyboard and stuff, and I was still
got a vinyl.
got a vinyl. And but my parents had this old, like the LP stereo player, and playing it on that. And then eventually I got some belt drive decks, and then started mixing, and was terrible. Gave it up after 2 years. Got back into it again. Then I started gigging from about 14, 15 in the clubs.
Right. Okay.
So playing in the likes of Subway City, or now Tunnel Club in Birmingham, which was quite a notorious club in its day. But playing eventually like Tidy Weekenders, Ideal Weekenders, Atomic Weekenders in Ibiza, for Hard Drive in Russia, in Moscow and stuff, and I was doing pretty well. And then I kind of fell out of love with it a little bit in that particular scene. It just wasn't doing it for me anymore.
And was this when you're in that scene? Are you like bang on it? You're in the scene. Like, you're in the scene
every weekend.
Not just when you're working, but you're in the scene as well, like as a consumer of the scene.
Definitely,
okay.
Definitely a consumer of the scene, and and in terms of navigating that, being quite young as well, because I was really subject to that. Probably from I first went out when I shouldn't at 14, but properly like 15, 16 and saw, all sorts of stuff. People caning it super hard, especially at some of these weekender like Prestatyn or like Southport. And it'd be like the Thursday night, wouldn't it be the warm-up night to the weekend, and someone's like already in an ambulance on the way home because they've caned it too hard. So but I'll never forget one a funny moment. It was I think it was at the Tidy. Do you know the Tidy Boys? No, so Tidy Boys or Anne Savage, Lisa Lashes, that type of thing. So from that circle. Okay. And it was their weekender thing, and it's like a big rave for a weekend at Prestatyn, like Pontins. Yeah. And I remember, this was...
They're like concentration camps, them places, aren't they?
They are.
Like, fucking, they are. Like, if you put a fence around it, you'd be like,
yes. And maybe they are.
Maybe
for
they were.
For ravers.
Or maybe they used to be concentration camps.
It's
maybe
the seagulls, mate. They're like genetically modified seagulls over there, and they will take. They won't just take your burger; they'll take your drugs as well. Okay. Quite literally. But yeah, I remember going into the toilet. And I was genuinely going in there to do my thing, right? Yeah. Like not to do anything else. And all I heard was like a doof, 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 knock on the door. And I'm like, trousers down round my ankles. And I'm like, doof, doof. I'm like, hold on a minute. And then obviously finish up and open the door, 6 police officers, all like that, looking at what was you just doing in there? And I'm just like, I was having a shit if you want to smell. Like, go on, there you go. And then I just ended up like scurrying along and walking off, things like that. But yeah, there's mad moments, so many of those types of moments in there. And I guess it got to a point, I was doing pretty well, but it was quite a small scene, and there was only so many people that were, only so much opportunity there. Yeah. And then that's when I started, I guess, growing up a little bit, getting more involved in my work. Buying a house at that point, which I massively regretted and ended up selling pretty quickly afterwards. And then just the gigs kind of fizzled. Then. Yeah, kind of like, thinking that's the life that I want, and then just naturally the gigs were fizzling out from there. And I
become an adult.
Kind of like that. And then quickly I ejected from that. Like 2.5 hours, 2.5 years, 2.5 hours would have been funny. But
ejected from the.
From everything, okay. From the house, financial responsibilities like car, job, everything, and then went traveling the first time. So that was in 2017, 18.
And so what led to that? What led to going, actually, I'm getting out of this? Was it I need to find myself, I don't know who I am, I don't like this, or what were the
There was a trigger moment, and funnily enough I mentioned this on a recent interview that I had. It's a weird one because I look back on it and it's kind of a weird one to say, but I was actually involved in a terrorist attack. I wasn't a terrorist.
You wasn't?
I wasn't, no. I don't know if you remember back in 2014, 15 in Tunisia, in Sousse, when a guy on the beach shot a load of tourists and locals there.
Right.
I was there at the same time. However, there was a divine intervention, that there were so many choices I could have made the wrong one. I was a paraglider the day before. The first person he shot was a paraglider on the day after. There was the Hotel Mahaba where the attack happened, and the Hotel Shinarazad. Chose the Hotel Shinarazad. And the tour that we booked, this was with my previous partner, tour that we booked was moved to the Friday, or whichever day the attack was, it was cancelled. It was like everything. It was like, okay, you're going to be here, but we're going to look after you to make sure you're out of harm's way. And it really freaked me out. And I remember like being evacuated out of Manchester Airport and hearing people's stories, like an old couple down in Dorset. They had to pretend to be dead on the beach because he was like, they were like this far away and they just had to pretend to be dead. Right. And at that point, there's, I don't know, that kind of it wasn't a near-death experience, I guess, but it was enough to make me question things. And that's when I started going down a bit of a rabbit hole. And then I found my way to binaural beats, frequencies, and then eventually into lucid dreaming and astral projection. And that's then when that kind of, that particular period of my life came in. And so I ended up going to this wacky 9-day retreat in France in a chateau. Getting up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, using like a special light machine, and then going to sleep and trying to induce out of body states or lucid type dreaming and stuff like that. And it all just kind of dominoed from there, if I'm honest.
So that was the start of the
that
sort
was
of
kind of like
awakening.
The start. Yeah, definitely the start. But I was probably looking at it back then, and something you said before, you know, we look back, you know, like when we thought we were a certain way, we go, we weren't. And I definitely wasn't. I was probably talking the lingo and wearing my spirituality more than actually being it. And even the word spirituality gets a lot of flack now. It's actually just be a good person. You know, you don't need to be spiritual for it to be spiritual.
Well, you are spiritual.
We
whether
are.
you like it or
you
not.
You are. But in terms of using it as in vocabulary, I think it's thrown around, and you know, it's in trend and people are using it and stuff like that, and people subscribe to words in different ways. You say one thing, you say like ceremonial grey cacao, and I'm like, or they'll be like, you just don't know what's going to resonate with people. And that's something that I certainly found myself. I was probably projecting my spirituality rather than embodying it back then. But yeah, very wild time for sure. To go from what I was doing before and then spending a couple of grand to go to France to do something like that. And I never knew who this outfit was or the group was.
And did you get a lot from it?
I got a lot from it. Understood a lot of interesting insights around our energy bodies and things like that.
And was this like one of the first times where like terms like energy body, energy chakra?
It was all new.
It was all new.
All new.
I remember when it was all new to me, and I'm like, shut up.
Prana.
Like,
really.
What?
And I'm just like, it's so much to absorb.
You don't think you're ever going to get it. And then one more, then the next thing you're telling someone about it, you're like, oh, yeah, I've got this.
No, that's it. And then I guess from there, I was really kind of like experimenting with psychedelics, but from more than from a recreational standpoint. There was something more to it. I remember putting on a whiteboard as going into the experience, you know, mushrooms or LSD is not a drug, you know, and then going into it, and something wasn't quite clicking. It was like, there's something here, but it's not quite clicking into space. And then in 2021, that's when I went and did my first ayahuasca ceremony. And it really opened up the door to a lot of possibilities for me.
Where did you do it?
I did it nowhere exotic, in Harlow.
Okay.
I won't mention the place, but it's in
I remember
Harlow.
doing one in Essex once. So you did ayahuasca in Essex? I was like, it was pretty cool actually.
The Amazon came to me, bro.
It's easy. I called it in.
Man. And then again, this is something that came before I actually understood about it. I knew what Kundalini was from a somatic perspective. But and I knew what chakras were, but I forgot the names of them, and I couldn't remember which ones were important or which ones did what or whatever. That was the stage I was at. And I remember being guided to have this pranic kundalini experience, which was quite scary. There was like beings in the ethereal, like showing me how to put my body. And at the time, I didn't know what it was, but doing Ujjay breathing, which is why my DJ name's Ujjay. It's kind of a play on Ujjay. And then to put myself in a certain position, upright, spine right, and then to hold, the
Mula bandha.
Yes, or where the pineal perineum is. Yeah. And I started doing that a lot, and then I could feel like, as I would describe, this is going to look really weird, but it's almost like a marble or a snake, and it was like this, and then it's like that, and it all of a sudden came through like this. And I felt like someone put a broomstick up my backside, and I was just like this, and shaking and having convulsions. Yeah. And meanwhile, my friend was on the sofa next to me, snakes, having his own experience. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is absolutely intense. And I ended up having what I now understand as partial or close awakenings, where I could see like the Ida and Pingala come into Sushumna and then the lotus leaves. It was quite profound, and it really freaked me out. And what do you do? You go on Google. It's all about when you Google your symptoms, you will die, or it says need to have like proper guru to do this. And I'm just like, I didn't have one. It just kind of happened. I'm just like thinking, okay. Yeah. I thought, no, I didn't think anything of it. Then I ended up doing it again, and it was really, really strong, to the point where it felt almost complete, if not complete. And then my life just started, it sounds really cliche, but it really started changing.
If you want to get 11% off every order and make sure you never run out of full power cacao, just head over to the website at checkout, hit subscribe and save. You'll get 11% off every order. It will be delivered to your door every month. You don't have to worry about anything. Everything's taken care of. So head over to the website, make that hit, and you have got this covered. Now, back to the podcast, Full Power. Is this 2021, did you say?
So from 2021, the latter part of 2021. So it was still quite recent when you think about it, 2025, like 4 years ago. But yeah, life started really like changing. And if I would put it down to a few words, it was like all of a sudden I was no longer ignorant to anything, even things I wanted to be ignorant to. Yeah. Which was quite scary, and it kind of like made me. I thought I was extroverted, and actually I'm quite introverted, and actually I don't think I believe in extroverted or introvertism anymore. I think it's how open are you to energy. The more open you are with energy, the less you want to be around energy that doesn't serve you, type thing. Kind of coming to the present day, I'm just kind of integrating that as best as I can, and serving through doing events, conscious community events, or whatever you want to call them. Yeah. You've got your cacao ceremony, your live medicine music, your ecstatic dance, sound bath and things. I think these are becoming really popular. Yeah, man. And
the
so in
sober
demand.
movement, so like
it's massive.
Yeah. Sober scene is getting huge, man.
Yeah, and I'm celebrating a year and 5 days of sobriety.
Full power.
Yeah, full power.
Happy days, man.
Yeah, I said, do you fancy a cacao? Do you fancy a beer? It's like, it's kind of like that. Yeah, I don't want to mix the two terms up, but do you want some, what did you say? Do you want some of Tracy's cacao? Do you want some of Karen's cacao? I remember.
He makes it the best. Yeah. I'm trying all the different types as well, isn't it? But it's like, even like going to the sober events and these like kombucha, like different, like we had a kombucha stall at our festival. I was like, that's the best I've ever tasted. It was fucking amazing. And then ginger shots, turmeric shots, like little things, just like nice, man. You feel nice the next day. Do you know what I mean? But you've got like some goodness in your body. It's like feeling buzzing off your tits from goodness, rather than feeling buzzing off your tits.
And you come away with value actually taking something, and you can drive home or your compass mentis, and you can remember everything that happened.
You've not lost your phone, you've not lost your wallet, you've not done something that you didn't want to do, and then you've not had to like get a taxi home in the morning and do the walk of shame.
No, and I think that's That's where a lot of people are with this stuff. They want to. I think that a lot of people out there, they want to come to this stuff, but they're scared deep down. Like they haven't got that that alcohol shield, that social lubricant that takes you further away from yourself, so you can be with other people. And
But that's where I feel like the ecstatic dance, the 5 rhythms, or just a sober rave is such a good way into that scene.
Bridge.
Like once you've danced sober and you've like for 2 hours, you've broke through. You only have to do it once, and then the next time you go, it's like, what did I do? Right, okay, I closed my eyes, I just listened to the music, and I moved, and I didn't think about what anyone else was doing. Because, you know, sometimes you go to 5 rhythms, and like if you've just started some weird shit going on in there, do you know what I mean? You're like, what the fuck is that guy doing? Why is she crawling on the floor? You know, if you're just a bog standard guy, like why the fuck is that woman
why is Ian over there crawling?
Why is the guy just like moving energy around the room, or like, you know, like
it's intimidating.
Yeah,
you don't subscribe.
Why is he doing the handstand? Or you know what I mean? And you're like, whereas like an ecstatic dance or a sober rave, like when I put events on, I wanted to stand in between mainstream clubbing and 5 rhythms, because for a mainstream clubber or a normal bloke or a normal girl, going to a 5 rhythms is quite a step. It's a fucking leap, man. Yeah. And when you go there, it's like, this is weird. Most people would go, this is fucking weird. Unless you've already had some kind of like exposure to those things. You're like, what the fuck? So I wanted to create a bridge between the two. It's like, come here, enjoy this. And then if you want to explore more, that's somewhere further along the line. And actually, we're going to have it here. It's sober. It's a well-held space. There's CACAO. There's drum and bass. There's different types of music. Yeah, there might be a few little weird things going on that might not be normal to you, but it's not as extreme as
I understand
5 rhythms. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. Or it looks like there's a lot of rituals going on, and people are not signing up, or they don't subscribe to it.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of see it. It's too far from their norm almost. But yeah, I think conscious clubbing, I think it's sober raves, I think all these terms are like finding their subscribers. You know, ritual raves, although that sounds a little bit, you know, like, I don't know, something else.
Just people going around cutting.
Blood brothers, quite literally. Yeah, that's it. Satanic rituals. Yeah, save that for Hollywood. Yeah. They do that, don't they? In like in the Golden Globes and some of the other different American ones. I don't know whether I should talk about this. I might get shot. But you know, probably. Like they actually perform like fake satanic rituals.
That's what Eyes Wide Shut was, wasn't it? Apparently Kubrick, like, there was loads of it that didn't even get into the cut because he was exposed in loads. He exposed quite a lot.
It's crazy. And then, you know, like in terms of like Hollywood, and I think we have, and also we've got to be careful that we don't repeat the same mistakes as like these giants, right? In the spiritual conscious community is, you know, we don't want to be making like, yeah, we've got our tribes and our extended family, but you know, you don't actually need that. You be part of yourself first and then be with your family. But I think there's so many people out there that are looking for a tribe, looking for answers, and they're super vulnerable, and someone out there that's got a cash book will give it them. And I think it's very important that we remain and remember like why we got into it in the first place. And you know, it's what it goes back to in terms of holding space, because some people that I've met, certainly some of the stories that I've heard just break your heart, like literally break your heart. And it makes you think like, how did I get in this circle? I've got off pretty light to be able to be part of this, thank God. But like some of the stories I've heard are just like, I have no words to say really. And it certainly makes you put life into perspective on how important it is. So
yeah, but I always feel that there's more positive stories than negative stories. And I always go, actually, why has the person been drawn to that as a vibrational match? There's something there for them to learn, that if they can look back on it eventually, it'd be like, oh, well, yeah, I'm glad I went to that, and I'm glad that happened, because it's made me stronger, and it's made me actually, what am I resonating with? What's sitting right with me? What were the reasons I went and sat with that person that wasn't quite right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what? That I totally agree. Like they are lessons for you to learn. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in there. You're not there by accident. But I do think also collectively and consciously, if we start becoming more, again, cliche word, but more authentic, more showing up truly rather than having ego attachments, then that's going to help everyone anyway. But I understand what you're saying. It's kind of like, do they actually need to go through this because they're not learning something, or is this like a misuse or abuse or whatever, you know? Like, and I think that's a taboo subject, especially in the conscious community, in terms of like, you know, like you see in festivals, like everyone's close and intimate and stuff, and I get that. But and it's also
there's some good side to it, and then there's another side to it where it's like there's an edge, and you're like,
but
I
it's
don't
life.
like that.
But I understand that's life with anything. It's like, you know, anything. There's always a good side and a bad side.
Yeah, because that's why I think that's why sometimes we get a bit from other like groups. Like we would never call anybody out. Like I don't call people out. It's like I observe this stuff that I don't like. I might unfollow. I don't give it any attention. It doesn't come into my thing. But then other people will bring us into their thing, call us, like bring more attention to us, and it actually does us a favor because in the long run, people figure it out that actually, if you've got a teacher that's slagging somebody else off online, that is not the teacher that you want to have, because you would go, because these people come to me and they go, what do you think about going and sitting with this person? I'm like, do you know what? I've heard various things. If I wouldn't go and sit with them, it's not the energy, it doesn't feel energetically aligned for me, but you have to go what's energetically aligned for you.
Yes.
And I'm not going to say that person's bad or that person's good, but I'm just going to say, it's not for me. And if you want to go with that and that feels right to you, then fair enough. Like I've had it with like students of mine, and they've gone, oh, this event's come up, what do you think? I'm like, be cautious of that person.
Yes.
I went, that's all I'm saying. I'm not slagging them, just be cautious, because, and then they'll go, oh, this happened. And I'm like, yeah. I went, but it's for you to find out and you to figure out on your path. I've give you some information, but I'm not, but I would never do it online. I wouldn't like slag someone in public. And I think for us as well, with the way I am, you know, I come from a working class background. I'm very laddie. I like football. But I was an actor. Like when I would play football, all the lads called me gay because I was an actor. Do you know what I mean? It was like, he's gay because he acts. Like that's just what it was. If you acted where I was from, you was gay. It's like, what? Why? Why am I gay now? Do I have to be gay? But it was just like this thing, and like, but then in the spiritual community, it's like, well, he's not always wearing spiritual outfit. Like, what? Like, does that make all my 12 years of practice like?
You must be wearing a sarong or a kimono.
Yeah. Do I always have to?
Do we
always have to have it on, or like, you know, like what's the essence of that human being? And it's like, regardless of what you're wearing, people, you know, I meet people who've got all the gear on. Like, and they don't know fuck. Like I'd say a terminology or a mantra. All the gear, no idea. All the gear, no idea. And you're like. Because I say in my ceremonies, I'm like, right, like, who knows about this? And someone goes, and I'm like, do you know, you must know about it. And then the woman goes, no, I've got no idea. I was like, how the fuck can you be dressed like that, wearing that gear, and you don't know what I've just said? I went, you need to just wear normal clothes because you're fucking with my head.
Yeah, I've gone the other way. I think like I do have like you know, like for DJing, you know, I have like a bit of an outfit that I wear as part of my brand or whatever. Not too out there, but it looks good on the camera and things, and I understand that's what I'm doing it for. But I actually prefer not looking spiritual, so I don't bring attention to myself, because I'm trying to be incognito in the real world a lot of the time. I don't want people to kind of bring their attention or to stare at me or to look and stuff, which is quite interesting. Whereas before, I'd be the first in, you know, your hippie pants and you know, your elephant things that you have from Thailand and stuff like that, all that kind of stuff, and wearing all. I mean, I have like some really nice necklaces and stuff like that, and I do wear them, but I have problems with my skin, so I can't always wear them and stuff.
Because ultimately, like I say to my missus, I went, do you know what? I feel the most comfortable wearing a t-shirt, a pair of jeans, and a pair of trainers. Yeah. Like, and then when I'm at home, I just wear a pair of jogging bottoms and a t-shirt and maybe a hoodie. Like, but then I know when I go to an event, like I want to
dress
like,
up a little bit.
Yeah, man.
Make an effort.
But then also sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna wear a football shirt. 'Cause it's gonna fucking rattle people like at a certain place. Or when I go to when I used to go back to my football club or something, I'd wear the most outlandish spiritual costume because that would fuck with their heads. Because I was always like, I'm always trying to test boundaries. Like when I'm in a really very sort of posh upper class place, I swear more. Like more Mancunian, I'm more working class. And it jars them, it fucks with them. And then when I drop into a higher self and drop into my mantras and drop into praying my kirtan, and they're like,
who is this guy?
What the fuck is this, man? And so I feel like I'm always stretching somebody's consciousness and stretching somebody's like level of like what's acceptable. It's like, and then you'll get like little old ladies, and I've been effing and jeffing and motherfuckering all the way through this thing. I just want to say, you're one of the most impressive men I've ever met. And that is this really like aristocratical old lady, and you're like, nice.
No, I think that's
like,
good. I think that's healthy. I think it's healthy because you're like, you know, like get out your own arse, you know,
exactly,
and just enjoy it. Like find the joy and enjoy, right? That's exactly the thing. Right. And if you want to be looking super like level 10 ninja spiritual, then fine, absolutely fine. But I think it's, I think what I'm just saying it from that perspective, it's like believe it in here first, and then do what you want. But I think wearing your spirituality.
I love seeing people that look amazing, like.
Absolutely.
On base is this like almost androgynous looking. I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman but he or she just looks incredible. Like long hair, these gowns, and like this stature, and I'm just like, wow, like just beautiful, like just a piece of art as a human being. I don't care what you are, but I'm like just beautiful, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the like. What the work that they've done and how they've gone up, because it's very striking. But I'm be like, I fucking can't be asked doing all that. Do you know what I mean? It must take ages.
That's it. I think
it's not for me, but it's for other people, you know.
Yeah, that's it. And I think I'm just trying to think. Like, I prefer like clothes that look stylish but feel super comfortable. I didn't wear them today because I had to get on the train and it's cold and I want to just put my comfies on type thing. But like, you know, like the baggy pants that are tight round the ankles. What are they called? Like
the harem pants.
Kind of like harem pants, but like I would have them use them for yoga as well, because I find like tight, the gym style stuff. It's not good for my skin. I think it's got like chemicals anyway and stuff like that in there. It's too close, but. Yeah, I don't know how we've been on fashion now. For like an hour.
It just goes where it goes, man. But like, how would you like? Obviously, like, there's people listening to this. There's a lot of people that are like know what we're on about, a lot of it, and resonate, and you know, will follow you on Instagram and connect with you and see what you're up to. And where you're based in Leamington Spa?
Yeah, originally from like Cotswolds way, but I'm living in Leamington. Yeah.
So a lot of your events on around the Midlands area.
Yeah, Warwickshire, Midlands. Yeah.
Okay, but if you was to explain ecstatic dance to somebody, how would you explain it? How does it work? What is it?
Yes.
Why should I come?
Yeah. First of all, just breaking down like how someone would perceive that word. Ecstatic sounds a bit mental to the untrained ear, and other people have tried to coin a different term. You know, like we were saying, like sober rave, ritual rave, or like free movement, or you've even got like contact improv, which is slightly different, more left field. But ecstatic dance is essentially freeing your body, allowing yourself to free your mind consciously without any substances, and to feel good doing it, and to leave the place with something and feeling good. I would say that's what ecstatic dance to me, like when I discovered it, was I've heard I've heard of the term, but I never really went to one. And it wasn't until I went to a place called Vishram in Dharmakot in India, and they were doing them there, and they were like full moon, ecstatic dance and medicine circles. And I'm like, oh, I really want to go to one, but it just felt a little bit. And then eventually I went to one and I was just like... And I was just like,
why have I been putting this off?
Why have I been putting this off? It was absolutely amazing. And there's quite a few ecstatic dance events in the UK, quite a few. There's like probably at least 50 plus. You know, it's almost like Ecstatic Dance, London, Brighton, Leicester, like that type of thing.
We've got Ecstatic Dance Yorkshire who buy a shitload of cacao off us. Like,
nice.
It's like, fucking, they're dancing a lot up there, man.
Yeah, no, that's it. And then
they do mix it with Yorkshire tea and cow's milk and chips and gravy. You just not put it all in one blender and they all have it. It's like, that's how they go in Yorkshire. Cacao, tea, chips, gravy.
Oh, that'd be swimming. That'd be swimming.
It's called a Yorkshire smoothie.
That reminds me of like, what is it the Scots that do this? I remember because I'm from like a squaddy town, which is near RAF Bryce Norton, and there's a fish and chip shop there where they do like the deep fat fried Snickers or Mars bars. You know, can you imagine doing that with like cacao? Oh no, deep fried cacao. That would just I'm not into that.
I think it just defeats the object, in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, because for me, like obviously, like there's almost like a framework of the ecstatic dance.
There is. It's storytelling.
Yeah, but it's, for me, it kind of like, it takes you to these points of ecstasy and ecstaticness or whatever it is, to be in an ecstatic space or an ecstatic feeling of bliss. But it builds you up to that, and then it brings you into another, and it's got these kind of ups and downs within it.
Yeah, it takes you on a journey. How I and I'm still developing it every single set, and I actually like it because I remember when DJing to people that were fucked up. It's really easy. Oh my god! But now you're dealing with sober people that may be going through some hard times, and you've got to try and find a frequency that resonates with them. But I think having like you've got to start and maybe one or two peaks with which styles of music that you're doing. So I usually have a peak with like the kind of tribal fusion stuff, and then bring it a little bit down and then kind of fade it out, and then bring up the drum and bass, peak that, and then go back down. Or I like mixing BPMs where you've got like, like the ecstatic world type stuff, like 80 BPM. But you've got like 160, 170 BPM drum and bass. They kind of overlap each other, on a half speed and stuff. And you can do some clever stuff with that. But I think it's like, bringing them up, kind of introducing it, seeing how the vibe of the floor is, because it may be people are like, like kind of struggling to find their groove, and you've got to try and find something that would bring them there, and also find, our own culture of music sometimes, because it doesn't always have to be like hippie, spiritual, like medicine stuff. You can bring, I like it, you like it too, like stuff like that, stuff that we resonate with. Like if you were to go in any country, they would play the music that everyone else resonates with to bring people together, and then you see and you can control the energy and flow. But you also don't want it like here, because everyone's going to be knackered after an hour or 2 hours.
Fuck me. Like I did, I remember I think it was my 40th or something, or it might be my 39th birthday, and I had this, like, it was during COVID, and I had this massive rave for my birthday in this warehouse.
Nice.
And I was like, just going to be drum and bass, because I used to love going out all night to drum and bass. After an hour, I was like, we got 4 more hours of this. I was like, I'm fucked. I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I realised why I used to have to do it on drugs. You know what I mean? Like, I never even thought about it. But when he was on drugs, he could dance for fucking 9 hours. I was like, an hour. I was like, and I was still fit. But
it's different though. It's different. Like this is something I've had to learn. Like coming from like the raving and doing events and doing, I've done like illegal parties, like 12, 18-hour parties. And you think, let's just do this. And the sober environment, great. This is going to be great. And people are like, no, I can only do like a couple of hours and stuff. So it's kind of like,
I've got to be in bed for 10:30.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it's like, I'm still trying to find the right structure and routine. And you never, to be honest, it's difficult because you're also competing with people's energies, and people may want the rave now, or they're like, ease me into it. Actually, I don't want any rave at all. I'm just here for the sound bath or the cacao ceremony or singing or stuff like that. And you find that people aren't really into the dance on that particular night. And I think if you work with like the new moon and the full moon is kind of a basic one, I think. New moon's more yin-ish. Yin-ish. There's still some uprising stuff, but full moon tends to be more Crazy.
And so you sort of work with them
that,
cycles,
yeah. And I kind of
those rhythms.
I was inspired by, like I said, they're called.
If you want to start your cacao journey today, head over to www.fullpowercacao.com, and to get 11% off your first order, use the code FULLPOWER2012 at checkout and start to feel that full power vibration today. Now back to the podcast. Enjoy.
What they call global tribe gathering out in India, and I was noticing, I was like, why are they doing it with the moons? And then obviously looking into what the full moon represents, new moon and stuff. It's like, okay, I'm like, I'm not too sure about that, if I'm honest, but fine, let's go with it. And then as you do, and you go with it, you start realizing, oh yeah, maybe
these guys were right.
Yeah, that's it. This is it. So yeah, that's what I'm slowly doing with Awaken.
Yeah.
Which is
that's your brand.
Yes, that's the brand. So it's like conscious community, it's unique spaces. I had it done it in a guy's kind of like penthouse, such as underground and stuff. He allowed us to use it there. There's also like medicine singing type stuff. So there, I work with some artists where they put like on a performance, and then something new for 2025 is launching a new project, which will be medicine circle singing, which I believe is quite lacking. The closest thing we have is Kirtan, which is cool, and I love Kirtan and I go to it monthly, love it, not knocking it at all. I just want to see this circling concept, because I loved it so much and it resonated with me so much when I was out in India, and it's just something so powerful where everyone is no us and them. There's no inequality. You've got like the main artist in the circle in the middle that hold the space, and everyone is kind of like circling around with them, and it's just so beautiful to see. And how they did it was they did the cacao ceremony, a bit of face painting, going into the ecstatic dance, like weird and wonderful type, like I guess glitchy hot stuff like that. Stuff that's what's it called? You know what I mean? Like it's almost like dubsteppy,
almost like DMT kind of music.
Trip hop, stuff, beats where they kind of move in a different way, rather than just 4/4 all the time. And then it brings it up, and then goes crazy, and then it brings it down, and everyone lies on the floor, and then everyone comes together, and does the singing at the end. And that's something that a guy called Shanta, so shout out to him if he's listening. He's been a big inspiration, and I didn't realise. I knew of him before going to India, and I ended up being on the same bus as him, going from Rishikesh to Dharamshala, and I recorded it, and I can see him in the recording, but I didn't know it was him.
Okay.
And then I eventually was in Dharamshala in India, and then I was like, I'm going on YouTube. I was like, "Are you this? You're that guy? Oh my god!" And I just had a little like fanboy moment. And he's a French guy as well, and and he's like he's incredibly strong as well. Like his aura and his posture, and he's very much into his yoga, but he's very down to earth and just a lovely guy to be around. And I asked him, like, give me some inspiration and give me some advice. How do I do this in the UK? Because I'm gonna miss this when I leave. And he was just saying, like, lead with your heart and work with people that are in it for the right reasons. And that's what has been happening for me this year. It's like some people haven't quite worked out, and sending love to them, but it hasn't worked out for whatever reason. But the people will eventually see. Give people 3 months, and you'll see whether they're calling their own bullshit or they're actually in it for genuine reasons. And that's where I'm at. It's still very early doors, but it's exciting.
But is that the thing that you're trying to focus the most on now and expanding it?
Yes. So the idea is to mostly keep it in the Midlands for now. Yeah. Because I think that's where I am. It makes sense. But there's nothing stopping this from going up and down the UK.
And you leading it or other people doing?
I mean, I can lead X amount of events or ones that are local to me. But if there's someone that feels strongly, because I want it to feel as a collective, which is very difficult to do. Because there has to be someone that's leading it, but then people also want to do their own thing and stuff like that. But where my experience comes in is I'm very good at think of a brand and thinking about what it represents and what's the value of it and how do we get it out there, and like bish bash boss creating it and pushing it out there. I'm almost like a bit of an entrepreneur in that sense when it comes to that, and it's getting people
and the brand
involved.
mission and the brand ethos.
Yeah,
and
I think so. Yeah. But do actually orchestrating, which is kind of making me a bit like self-conscious or nervous, is because it's a new thing for me. I've been studying and playing guitar now for 2 years non-stop, at least half an hour every day, and I'm now at the point where I'm now practicing with the medicine music and stuff like that, and to be able to hold that space and with 2 other people as well.
Nice.
So I'll shout them out as well because they're brothers and sisters. So like Tanya Zero and Luke Pentanuso. He's actually got the same middle name as me, Luke Anthony. Mine's Broadhurst, his Pentanuso, and we both got a mum called Sharon.
Oh, nice. Meant to be.
Yeah, we both do yoga.
Last names.
Yeah.
Has he got long hair?
He did, and he cut it off.
Oh, he's cut it off. Because of you?
No. Maybe. Maybe. No, he wanted to have some contrast.
I'm scared of cutting my hair off, man.
Oh, no.
Things are going, like, seems to be when I have long hair, shit goes good. And so I'm like, nah, keep it.
Yeah, shall I let my hair down? I'll show you.
Yeah. It's like a fashion show, this episode, isn't it? It's like, talks about, look at that. It's longer than mine.
I know.
It's straight. Yours is quite straight, though, isn't
it?
Mine's wavy as fuck, man.
Yeah, so...
Like a different person. Hi, this is Dave.
Hi, this is John.
This is Luke Anthony Pentlehurst. What was his name?
Pentanuso.
Anthony Pentanuso. Welcome to the show.
Luke Anthony Pentanuso. Yeah,
he's got a bald head today. He's got a bald head.
It's bald head now. He used to have long hair.
Okay.
He used to have long hair. Yeah.
What? He had to shave it because he is bald, or just he's gone bald?
No, I think he just got fed up with it.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Should we just like wave? We have a like little.
Or cousin it moment, you know.
Guys, for all the women out there who like long hair, Jesus, guys, like this is your moment.
People think I never knew who this guy was. Actually, I did, but I never knew him as his name as an actor. But people think I look like Jared Leto. I literally have people in the street
look a bit like Jared Leto.
Go, "Oi, Jared!" And I'm just like, "Who's Jared?"
Do you know who else you look a little bit like? The Arsenal goalkeeper, David Raya.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, right, yeah. He does, doesn't he? Look a little bit like... There's one picture where you look like him. Okay. You only look like him from certain angles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to check him out.
I've had other ones like Russell Brand, but I don't see that personally. No. And Jesus, but I think they're intoxicated too much.
Yeah. What, Jesus and Russell Brand?
Yeah, I've had those. Yeah, right. I don't get Russell Brand. Jesus is obviously.
When I was travelling, I got Jesus on, but it's just because you got long hair.
Or long hair, long life, or what they say, long hair, long life, or long hair, long dick. That's what they used to say.
Okay, did they?
Yeah, especially
in Jesus times.
No.
Oh right.
Traveling.
Traveling. I remember I was in this carnival. Oh well, there was like this. It was called the Garifuna. So in Belize, you've got the Garifunas, and that's like the first tribe for like Africa. They was going to the Caribbean, and they came to Belize. They were called the Garifunas, and they kind of like speak Criollo. There's a language and stuff, and then they have this Garifuna festival in Belize. So it's like these big like. It wasn't busy, but there was these like floats of a carnival going past, and all these kids doing like. So it's Belize is like the weirdest place because you've got like the Mennonites, which are like Mormons with the hats on. They just stand like very conservative, very stern. Like obviously they don't have electricity, and they kind of run the economy in Belize, but they're just straight. Do you know what I mean? Like the women wear the like traditional little petticoats or whatever they are. Like they look like something from the 16th century. Do you know what I mean? Okay. And then you've got the Mayans, like the indigenous Mayans, and then you've got like the Spanish sort of indigenous, the Spanish conquistors, but like the locals, they're kind of indigenous now as well because they've been there so long. And then you've got this patois, but it's called Creole or something like that. Anyway, but their tradition is very like, you know, dancing and very kind of like out there, flamboyant, like loud and music blaring everywhere. So you've got all these juxtaposes of like these different cultures, and you'll be on a bus with all of them, and you're like, what the fuck is going on, man? Like,
How have I ended up here?
Yeah, and it's like there's chickens everywhere, and you're like, wow, you're just like, this is the maddest place of like just juxtapose of these people all living in this one quite a small country. But anyway, there's this carnival going on, and all these like Garifuna sort of like African, you know, traditional girls like doing the shakes and older people, and then everyone just goes, Jesus, Jesus, and points at me, and I'm like, bless you, bless you. So this whole carnival's then looking at me, and all the kids are going, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I'm like, fucking up. Yeah. So happy days, Jesus vibes.
Jesus vibes.
The Jesus energy is coming in, man. That's what we were talking about on the last podcast, like the Christ conscious energy, 2032, this second coming of Christ, which is within everybody, and it's to bring that, allow that to blossom, allow that energy to blossom, and allow people to like, it's the awakening, man. That's why all these things like sober raving, conscious dance, ecstatic dance, it's like, wow, freeing people up without the like alcohol, man. It's like a suppressant. Do you know what I mean? It's a depressant. So it's like to step out and give people these other opportunities, and that's why all these scenes are like popping at the moment, man. Which is super beautiful.
So in demand, I think, and in demand at all levels as well. Like in terms of the like from an investment perspective, you know, like super high end, you know, like bougie side, but then donation side as well, which I think is important. You know, like. Having an offering that is open for everyone, and there's quite a few out there, you know, where you go up and it's donation, pay what you can, because I think that's important, but also going further if people want to spend that much more for something that's more involved, like for instance, New Year's Day at Soul Revolution Festival, like there was yoga, breath work, heart activation, ecstatic dance, live looping, performance by Aaron Chive. You know who he is. He's really good. He plays like a didgeridoo, djembe, handpan. He has like a looper, and he creates like a rave environment. It's so good. Yeah, you'd like his stuff, I think. Actually, yeah.
Cool. That sounds good. So this has been really positive, amazing interview. But like, what's been like to get to what you're doing now? What's been the most challenging or darkest moment?
I would say relationships with people, relationships, and reintegrating myself into those relationships, and so that's been really difficult because a lot of the time I felt very misunderstood or very what's the word I'm looking for? Just very alone, like very alone. And it's I would say it's being comfortable in my own skin. Probably been one of the biggest challenges, and knowing that I'm enough and I love me. I would say that's been the biggest challenge. I've always been looking for validation externally. You know, it's the same story, isn't it? Everyone goes through the same stuff, and it's been really an eye-opening last year in terms of how I see relationships of years ago to present day, and what were those relationships serving. I'm not putting any negativity to them, but they were a situationship for either a substance or for trauma or what I can give someone or what they can give me. You know, I'm not saying I'm you know, a saint in all this either, but I would say it's navigating relationships with people that are on their own journeys. I would say that's been one of the toughest things for me.
How does it feel get into that space where you can kind of like just, are you now sort of like you can give or take relationships and there's not pressure on them?
Yeah, totally. Like I'm still learning, and I will still learn. But I'm at the point now where I'm not so emotional about relationships that were meaningful to me, but they're no longer serving each other like they used to. But it's fine, you know. Like I think last guest, I think I heard her mention. I'm pretty sure I heard her mention this very thing. It's kind of like. You know, like we're not doing it for each other right now. Maybe it will in the future, but we'll check in from time to time. There's no love lost there. It's just there's just nothing here anymore, and
Are you in different trajectories?
yeah,
and that's okay.
that's it. In different
totally fine.
trajectories, and that's not to say anyone's better or worse
Yeah,
or
totally,
anything.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
different.
yeah.
Just different. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing with like the energetic vibration and the gurus. It's like it's like when we were saying earlier about like someone would come to me and go, "Oh, he's the spiritual guy."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "But you are, and so are you." No, I'm not. I'm like fucking all in this spiritual suit, mate. Like whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Like, whether you identify with being in it or not, you're in it. I'm afraid. So,
Yeah.
and what's going to happen in the next sort of 8 to 10 years is going to kind of force you.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah, the universe is going to make you so uncomfortable that you're going to have to make some positive changes in your life. And hopefully everything that we do and the people that we talk to on the podcast, people like you and the movements in Leamington and Bath with Julian and Alex and everything that's popping off around there, because like 2 years ago, there was nothing around there at all. And they've kind of like started this thing, and other people have cropped up, and that's what it means. Like as soon as somebody puts something on in a town that's got nothing, people will come to it because there'll be people there that's looking for that in this area, and they're either having to go further afield, or they're not going to anything because it's not there, but they have an interest, and then it also gives other people permission to go, oh, what was that thing you went to? And it's like, oh, come and check it out, and oh right, I enjoyed that, and it's not going to be for everyone, and everything's, you could have 2 Kirtan events. One you'll resonate with, one you won't with. And then someone else will have the because we're all different energies, we're all different vibrations. And I always say to my friends, to people that want advice, it's like, just go and see, go and experience stuff. You don't go once and you don't have to go for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Just go check it out. If it resonates, if you get off the vibe, keep going. And then one day, if it doesn't, stop going. It's pretty simple. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. And I was something I said to, who was it I was saying to? One of my friends of mine, New Year's Day, I think Temple had something going on. Ignite had something going on. The Alex and Julie from the Kit, and they had something going on. There was Exstatic Dance London, they had something going on. There was Twice Told Tale, which was in Birmingham. They had something going on. There was loads, and I was thinking, oh, it's a shame we couldn't all, some of us work together. We didn't need to. They were all rammed, all packed. All the events are packed, which was really cool to see. It's so in demand, and
everyone's growing, man. That's what I've said to everyone. Like, obviously, like a lot of us that were in it, sort of that I knew from 2012 up until 2020, and it was 2020 where I started saying to some people, I was like, because nothing shifted for them 8 years, really. It was like, you might build up a bit of a busier yoga class, but still, my cacao ceremony is 8 people, 10 people. Like, that whole 8 years, 8 people, 10 people. There's never any more than that. And then 2020 happened, and started chatting to him. It was like, your shit getting busier, mate? And he was like, yeah. He went, this is just the start. Like, wait for a couple of years, and then bump. And then, like, all the people that then come to your events and get inspired, and you're like, and then you go bump, and then they've inspired something, and you bump, and you're like, fuck. And me and my mate were just going, wow, all the things that are pop. Whereas in the 3D paradigm, it's like, why are you sharing your stuff, and are you not pissed off with someone replicating? I'm like, I'm buzzing if they've replicated it. I'm like, fuck, man. Like they've seen something I've done and gone, I want to do something similar. And that's why I'm like, when people going, oh, someone's come to my thing and like they've put something else on that's quite similar, and I'm like, great. And they're like, but they've stole it. I went, it's not yours.
It's not yours. You discovered it.
It's not yours. Yeah.
It was already there.
Surely you was inspired by someone. How did you get there?
Yeah.
So have you not stole it? And then ultimately, have you not stole it from God? But God's cool, man. God's like, have it.
Yeah, have it.
Yeah. It's like, and let other people do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my missus will be like, sometimes, what do you think of that? I'm like, it's similar to, they've copied. I'm like, great. Fucking great. I went, because I'm not bothered, because nobody can do it the way I do it.
You've got your own frequency.
Exactly, man.
That's what people
want,
and which is like, your brand.
Yeah. And my brother, when I started teaching people cacao ceremonies, he was like, but aren't people going to go to their cacao ceremonies, and aren't you going to get less people going to yours? And I was like, I'm thinking, oh, maybe. Yeah, because a lot of these people I'm teaching in Manchester. And then I tuned in, and I was like, no. God's like, teach and you'll expand. And then fuck me from teaching and giving people what we've got. It just boom. So it's like, don't hold on to it, share it, teach people, inspire people. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't get upset if someone's doing the same thing as you. That's fucking brilliant, because nobody can do anything the way you do it. Nobody can.
No.
So it's like, even if they're copying you, they can't do what you do.
No.
And even if they're copying you, they're doing it their way.
There's so many different ways to do it anyway.
Exactly, man. With everything.
So many different ways to do it. Like, in terms of how you want to do it, like in terms of what happens on the day. You've got people that are just solely ecstatic dance, hour and a half. It's almost like a fitness workout.
Yeah.
That's how people have seen it. And you know what I like about it? You don't have to worry about like club environments and things. You can just have a dance hall space or community hall or whatever. Yeah. Bring a PA system. No bar, you don't have to worry about that.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a lot cheaper to run. I remember like hiring clubs out, and you know what?
Because they want the bar, don't they?
They want the bar, exactly. And also on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, which were the prime times, like you'd get like a lot of conflict because there was limited people that were going to go out and party. Whereas this is completely different, I find.
It's a beautiful movement to just observe, especially like the last 2 years, man. It's been like, everything is just popping and it's really amazing. And, you know, things will come and things will go. And the ones that are like doing everything properly, they will, you know, the ones that expand into the arenas, into the big venues, into, you know, and like I said to the lady who was on the previous episode, I was just like, we're going to be doing arenas, big spaces where gigs are, where concerts are. Like, that's what's going to happen for these places, because that's going to be the fucking new normal, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, ecstatic dance, people not wanting to drink, people not wanting to feel minging, people not wanting to be sick, people not wanting to be in vulnerable situations. Like, people that have worked with us, it's like they're sober now, they were like women, and they're like, do you know what? I put myself in so many vulnerable situations, like when I was drunk and a young female, and it's like, you're hopefully not going to do that. As you know, there's still things happen within sober things, but you've got less chance. You've got your wits about you.
Yes.
You're compos mentos.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're not blacked out.
Yeah. You're not vomiting next to you. No.
Which is.
No, I think it's a good thing. It's a really good thing.
Yeah, super positive. So, is there anything else that you want to share with us before we wrap up? But obviously, how do people get in touch with you, and what have you got going on in the next few months?
Yeah, so in the next few months, I have got a few events that are lined up, still pending on dates and stuff like that. I'm playing 2 festivals this year. Yeah. So Soul Revolution Festival, of course, and Omshala Festival. But it's still early days. I'm waiting for a couple more things to come through. In terms of where people can find me, pretty simple. Ujjaymusic.com has all my links on there. So Instagram.
What's your Instagram handle?
Ujjay Official, but it's under Ujjaymusic.com. It's basically my link tree.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's all under there. Cool. So Instagram mixes. I post a lot of my sets, like from a video perspective as well. Okay. I'm getting better at doing that now, people can watch themselves dancing afterwards and stuff for the whole
so if
duration.
one of our viewers wants to just like listen to a set, there's some things you can just listen to
SoundCloud, on YouTube, and
Spotify
links to that on your website. Well. Yeah, all links to that. So all got the links there.
So get yourselves a fat cacao if you want to have a little dance one night, Friday or Saturday night.
Get naked. No.
If you're in your own house, get naked, man. Why not? If you want to get naked in your own house, do what the fuck you want.
Definitely.
just make sure your curtains are shut if you're in a residential area.
No, open them up. It's fine.
Windmilling.
Hi, Margaret.
Hi. And just like have a dance.
Yeah,
man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Get your tunes on, get a cacao down you, and have a dance.
Yeah, and lots more music coming out as well. I think music, intention around the music is big for me in 2025. And
producing your own music.
Yeah, I've already got some tracks out already, but I've got some more releases that are coming out, and I'm in the studio on Wednesday working with an artist as well. So I feel like 2025 is going to be like an aggregator for more music. And like I said, the Medicine Circle singing, but I don't want to talk too much about that until it's out there. But there's some really cool things.
Talk about it, man. Manifest it.
Yes.
Talk about it.
Definitely.
And project it into how big it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a big national movement.
definitely. I believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's gonna happen. Full power. Go and check ujjmusic.com. Check out his socials. Hit him up. Listen to some of his tunes. And yeah, man, thank you for being on the Full Power podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you, to sit with you,
Likewise.
to hear your story, hear your passion for what you're doing. And yeah, it's a real blessing, man.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Full power.
Full power.
Yeah, man. Happy days.
Deal with the death of self, come out the other side, and then you're part of the spiritual army of get out there, march, do your thing. This is happening.
Don't get rid of the Ferrari. Keep the Ferrari. You've got that as a snippet, mate. It sounds like a great day. Tie me up.
And I was sick of losing all of my weekend. I hadn't seen a Sunday properly for so long. And I knew that if I had one of my first experiences, but I didn't know how to handle it. And an energy had come in that I was like, this doesn't feel right or good. And I was commanding it to leave. It's all mantras and yantras, basically, of the purification system that we need to go through to be able to connect to the energy of Mother.